Look, if you're a financial advisor and you're making between about $300,000 to about $1 million a year, and you think the idea to break through $1 million is to get smarter, you're doing the exact thing that is keeping you broke relative to your potential. Say what? Yeah, this is going to be fun. I know it makes no sense at all. I get it. I know, because you've been rewarded your entire life for being the smartest person in the room. I mean, you've got the education, you've got the credentials, you've got the knowledge, and yet here you are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. 10 years maybe being a financial advisor. You're working harder than ever. You know a lot. You have more letters after your name than anybody can spell. And yet you feel like you're the highest paid assistant in your own firm. You're the business owner and you feel like a glorified assistant. Today I want to make the case. I wrote them down on the cards. I want to see if you agree with me, or maybe I can shake your world. You're like, Goodbread, you have lost your love of mine. I'm out of here. Today I want to make the case that your thirst for knowledge is not your advantage anymore. It's actually a coping mechanism. And until you confront your thirst for knowledge, you're never going to break through. You're never going to reach that DecaMillionaire status. You're never going to break through to $1 million a year, $2 million a year, $3 million a year in revenue. Now, friends, today I want to challenge some frameworks. And these frameworks aren't mine. We use a little bit of AI because we have a lot of AI that we use in our company with our coaching clients and everything. And we went on the interweb. And the most relevant posts all came down to saying this from financial advisors, that credentials are better than capacity, that being a technical person is better than being an owner, and having knowledge is better than making decisions. I want to challenge all of those today. So here we go. Here we go. The smartest advisors I know, hands down, the smartest advisors I know are the ones who are the most overworked. You see, it is true that credentials can solve knowledge problems. It is true. However, the reason why you're stuck and you're grinding and you're stuck at a plateau point, or you're only getting market appreciation in your business, the reason why you're having a hard time bringing in clients, the reason why you're not scaling as rapidly as an 8-figure exit in 49 months, the reason why you're stuck is because of decision avoidance, not ignorance. Now, whenever I use that word ignorance, I use that word a lot. And I found out that many people, if you don't understand the definition of it, it means they get offended. I remember the first time I told somebody, one of my kids, I said, just quit being ignorant. And somebody scolded me and I'm like, you don't even know what the definition of the word means. It just basically means unlearned. It means that you just haven't been taught. So friends, the reason why you're stuck is decision avoidance, not because of some piece of information out there. What we think as business owners is, man, if I could get this new knowledge out here, man, if I can go find this knowledge, it's the missing piece, and it's going to allow me, and the audience is going to say, whoa, look at you, almighty financial advisor. Let me come bow down at your altar because you know everything. How much do you want to pay? That's not the way it works, man. It's not. You see, credentialing delays hard decision by giving you something productive to hide behind. Studying feels reasonable. Why? Because we've been doing it our whole life. My kids the other day are like, Dad, school sucks. I'm like, yeah, get used to it. You're going to be doing it the rest of your life. They're like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, seriously. I said, your dad's having to learn AI. Your dad's having to learn things that I never dreamt was possible. And I'm going to continue to learn because it feels responsible and it feels safe. It feels like progress, but without risk. That's the reality around education. You see, knowledge accumulation becomes procrastination at higher revenue levels. At $350,000, learning helps. At $700,000, learning often replaces leadership. No credential, hear me on this, teaches pricing courage, hiring authority, client dismissal. These are ownership decisions. These are not intellectual ones. These are emotional ones. But yet we as financial advisors, because we like to deal with absolutes, or we like to deal with Monte Carlo style outcomes, we think that we get more knowledge, we're going to have a better decision matrix, which we can decide on. Friends, I'm going to tell you this, and this only once. You got to ride the bull occasionally. You got to get up there and feel what it's like to have that powerful beast in between your legs as you're riding that bull. That's the same as for business. You got to feel the business. You got to feel the pain. You got to fail often, fail forward. But yet what we do is we hide behind credentials. It blows my mind. Smartest advisors I know, friends, candidly are the most overworked. Whenever you see what's on these cards, it's going to hit home. Because the second thing I want to talk about before I show you the magic of these cards is you don't need more leverage. You already have it. You're just refusing to use it. What I've discovered after coaching hundreds of financial advisors is this, that those advisors who are stuck under $1 million in revenue, they think like technicians. They're trying to perfect delivery instead of owners designing capacity. You see, technicians say, man, how can we do this better? Owners say, who should never let me touch this again? We were having a coaching call with one of our clients who wants to rapidly scale. They've already got an 8-figure RIA firm, highly successful. They want to move it to the $30 to $40 million price range. And as this particular advisor was walking through their work for the week, they were talking about this, and this. And it was like insurance negotiations and ADV Part 2B discussions with the compliance officer. And they had to redo a website textual page. And it was like all these things. And I'm going, dude, why? Well, because no one else can do it beside me. And I'm in my busy time. This is my crunch. And the chest began to pump up like this. And I'm like, dude, you're arguing over pennies while you're tripping over dollars and structure. Man, if you just had a 10% fee increase, you could go out and hire somebody to take all this off your plate. Your son is right here in the practice with you. He could do this for you. Why don't you teach him this year and never touch it again? No, because I lead to the microphone on this particular coaching call and it's like, you'll never reach $30 million in valuation. Because you can't let go. You're at the epicenter of his business. And his son said, Daddy's right. You see, most of us as financial advisors, we are trained to be perfectionists. No one knows as good as us. Our portfolio is better than everybody else's. Our financial plan is better than everybody else's because I have all these credentials. I mean, do we not get sick of our own pride at sometimes? You see, perfectionism is often disguised fear of accountability. If it's never finished, it's never judged. It's comical to me on the letters after our names. More letters usually mean more work, not more money, not more enterprise value. Being the most qualified person in the room makes you the default doer. Years ago, I'll tell you way back in high school, I was homeschooled most of my life. And when I graduated, House Resolution 6 had not been signed into law. And so therefore I could not go to a government institution for college. And so I went to a private Christian college for a year and I was like, I'm not doing this. I know how to run a business. I like business. I'm going to go back and grab my business that I started with my brother at age 15 and we're going to scale it. And we did. We scaled it rapidly. Shortly thereafter, House Resolution 6 was signed by the President Clinton at that time and allowed homeschoolers now to go with a home degree, a home education certificate, if you will, diploma, to go into the government school system. And so all my friends who were homeschooled, like, man, we're going to go to school, we're going to college, get a degree. I'm like, I don't want a degree. Don't care for one. And I was pretty much set on never having a college education until I'd already passed my CFP credential. I knew I wanted to CFP because I wanted to learn the body of work. I took that the first year or two that I was in the financial services industry. And lo and behold, the CFP board, I think it was 2005, said you can't use the CFP letters unless you have a 4-year degree. Well, crap. I had a little small grass degree from Abraham Baldwin that I'd taken to learn how to grow grass for our landscape company. And so I went to University of Phoenix online. I'm not ashamed of that. A lot of people, they'll read it on my resume when I go speak somewhere. They're like, you have a University of Phoenix degree? Like, nose up. We have a Harvard guy talking. I'm like, I don't give a flying flip. Your Harvard guy's broke. I'm not. And so I just like laugh at it now. And it's not to like beat the chest. It's this mindset that we got to get more letters. I literally was teaching the SEPA program the month I was recording this, and there were about 500 advisors, attorneys, CPAs. And I was on day 3, which is my favorite day, is talking about value acceleration, how to rapidly grow companies. I'm having a blast. And as I'm talking live on the air, people are DMing me, which is not uncommon in LinkedIn. And literally 2 financial advisors DM me like, hey, Goodbread, what's the next credential we can learn? Like, you hadn't even passed the SEPA credential. While I'm live on the air in the SEPA program, 2 advisors, financial advisors, email me and it's like, Justin, what's the next credential we can earn? It's on Wednesday. It's a week-long class and you hadn't even taken the board yet. And you're already thinking about the next credential. This is what holds you back, friends. Your team brings you everything because you train them to. You taught them that you are the answer instead of the decision maker. I have a client right now that's in our boardroom type of structure that we call it Club Deca. And they're growing from about $2.5 million to $5 million over the next 3 years in terms of their enterprise value of their firm. we were talking about the time period from February to April and how it was going to be crunched and the work they had to do in the business. And he literally with a chest like puffed out, like my rooster does on the farm. He's like, well, I got so much work to do this next 3 months. You're not going to see me much because, I got to negotiate my insurance lease, my insurance agreement for my RIA, and I got to negotiate this particular thing with a consultant, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and everything he talked about. I'm like, dude, I haven't never done that. And I got done. I'm like, let me get this right. You just listed the 7 or 8 things. Oh yeah, chest puffed out. And you say you want to take your firm from enterprise value right now about 12 million to 30 million. Do you think a CEO of a $30 million firm does what you just talked about? Oh man, you could have heard the air out of that balloon. His pride was up, and I had permission from our coaching clients. Hey, be relentless. We want to grow. He's like, dude, I never thought about it that way. I'm like, your son's here on the call. Let's get your son. Let's teach him this year, and you never take it again. And next year, between February and April, you go on an 8-week vacation. What do you think about that? The son's like, yeah, Dad, that's what you should do. And he's like, panicking. Why? Because he's the smartest person in the room. He's sought credentials. He's got more alphabet soup after his name. See, high credentials compress roles instead of expanding them. All of a sudden now you're the planner, and you're the operator, and you're the service desk, you're the rainmaker, you're the compliance officer. It is all you, man. Congratulations. The alphabet soup has put you into a prison, and you can't scale to DecaMillionaire status? The reality of what exists on this card is something interesting that I learned years ago, and that is this. If knowledge creates wealth, professors, PhDs should be the richest people on earth. They're not. Well, that's because they're not paid well. No. We're in a capitalistic system here. Money flows to where it earns the greatest return every single time. You know that. I know that. Revenue growth at the level in which you're at now comes from subtraction, not from addition. What does that mean? It means fewer clients create more margin and better positioning. Volume feels productive, but focus creates freedom, friends. Fewer tasks. The less tasks that you have as an advisor owner, the better decisions. However, when your time is compressed and tight, clarity disappears. Fewer credentials expose the real work that you've been avoiding. Hiring, pricing, letting go, leading. That's what fewer credentials do. Friends, the question is not what you should do next. The question is what are you refusing to decide? Breaking $1 million, breaking $3 million, breaking $10 million, breaking $1 billion, whatever the number is. Friends, if you're an advisor and you've not broken through $1 million yet, you're one required avoided decision away, not one new skill. Let me illustrate it for you here. Most of us think if we can get these letters, man, victory's won. It's not true. Has nothing to do with the letters. The reality is that's where victory is won. Victory is won by applying what you already know. You see, a new credential, 2,000 plus hours. The reality is you can reclaim 10 to 15 hours of your time. That new book, that new podcast, everything trying to DIY, it's in those hours. This is why I hire a coach. I hire coaching. I now have my 6th coach. Dude, my life is the most harmonious. My wife told me the other day, we were sitting on the back porch. Our house is a mess from all the construction. And we're sitting out back. By the way, my dog, I have several dogs. My Mastiff and my Cane Corsa, they got a hold of our Tom. Tom is my wife's romantic bird. He's a big white turkey. Every time she walks out, he gobbles at her. He loves on her. Well, they decided they wanted to throw him around a little bit. So poor Tom was out there trying to lick his wounds, his feathers all over the yard. And my wife's like, Justin, you're the most calm I've ever seen you now. Because even whenever you run your practice, you relinquish, but you didn't have this level of peace. And what I'm here to tell you, friends, is that $350,000 in revenue is not your ceiling. That's not your ceiling. Neither is that. The reality is that most of us seek to gain 150 clients. More clients, more clients, more clients, more clients. You maybe only need 40 to 70. That's the reality. I manage $1 million in revenue. I have 24 clients. I work 1 day a month. That's my life. I have time. I have freedom. I have more income than I can shake a stick at. I'm having a blast. But what we do instead, we chase more clients, and then we start defending our fees. We defend our fees versus having fee ownership. Yeah, we charge a premium price because we offer a premium service and we give premium transformations, but we can't identify that. The reality is that we're stuck with expert identity. You got the letters. Congratulations, you're broke. Whereas many people who don't have the letters you have, they place their identity in ownership. It's fascinating to me that because of the ownership mentality and the identity, what you're doing right now is you're doing the work. You're negotiating the insurance contracts. You're having to make sure that every email that goes out is perfect. You have to double, triple, quadruple check everything before you take action. I literally was one of my clients, coaching clients. We've been trying to get him to hire a virtual assistant now for 9 months. I'm like, dude, are you going to do this already? You're wasting your time. You're wasting our time. We want to help you, but you got to have a virtual assistant. What's the problem? Well, and it's got to be perfect. I finally said, enough's enough. Post a stupid thing. He posted, had 5 virtual assistants. We had a whole process in place that he could bring somebody in. And because of that, he's now designing the work. He's no longer doing the work. But you got the credentials and you're stuck. You're under $1 million, under $3 million. You want to scale rapidly? Friends, right now you're avoiding the hard decisions. If I could jump on a soapbox just for a second, let me tell you. I had over 300 strategy calls with financial advisors in 2025. 300. We have them all broken down. Out of those 300, 50 or so made a decision before and they're rapidly growing. 250 or so are out in the winds. They're doing him-hawing around because they're avoiding the decision. They know they don't have what it takes to get them to the next level. They know that. They said so on the call. I need a coach. I need someone who can help me. I need someone who can teach me. I need someone who can watch my blind side. Whatever the statement was, the ones who are successful, what's fascinating to me, the most successful advisors in our coaching program never had to have a strategy call. Never. They said, man, Goodbread can help me. He's been there, done that. They messaged me on DM. They said, hey, Goodbread, how much it costs to work with you? I told them what the price was. Cool, send me the contract. Let's go. Not one time did they have to make a strategy call. They just simply knew they needed somebody to help them, and they made an early decision. So you want to get past $1 million. You want to break through $3 million in revenue. You're in one of those 2 bands. The reality is, if you're addicted to podcasts, reading books, going to conferences, getting generic information to try to motivate you or try to educate you out of that, you're arguing for pennies while tripping over dollars. You'll never break through. It's not until you release and realize you don't have to be the smartest. Well, Goodbread, you got some credentials. Yeah, I do. I'm letting 2 of them go. Why? They don't mean anything to me. They've not done anything for me. Because I was back when, and my coach said, you've lost your ever loving mind, dude. You don't need more knowledge. You need to apply what you currently have within a framework that's proven successful. Instead of learning the technical, you need to become a business owner yet again. And he worked, as I said, for 6 months on my noodle, getting my head ready to be a business owner. Just this morning, we were putting together one of our workshops. We're having a workshop around marketing. It's going to be soon after this podcast. You're welcome to join us. It's a workshop that talks about how financial advisors can build a marketing system. We're actually going to build the marketing system on the workshop. It's a good event. It's my best stuff. And we were looking through it, and he came in, and this guy's only been with me for about a year. Smart guy. He goes, it just clicked on me. I said, what's that? He goes, I've been listening to the structure now a year. No wonder clients don't move. I said, why don't you think they move? He goes, they can't get out of their own way. I laughed. I said, you preach to the choir, man. That's often what happens to me. He goes, I know that. He goes, but then I watch you and you catch yourself and you relinquish. It's pretty fascinating to me. There's some of you who have worked very, very long and hard to break through the first 2 layers. And man, congratulations. Staying as a financial advisor for years, that's hard. Breaking through the first glass ceiling of $10,000 a month and breaking through the $30,000 a month glass ceiling, congratulations. That's no small feat. But do you want to stay in this average of 80? 80% of financial advisors, 80% of financial advisors never break through $1 million. And only a few break through $3 million. Or do you want to build an enterprise value that's DecaMillionaire status? Because if you do, friends, as the cards show, it comes to a certain point to where you have to say, I'm enough. And it's no more about learning more. It's about now relentless application. What are you going to do about it? Talk to you soon.